he has a new album out. Well, newish, came out September of last year, I believe. Awful jokes from my first comedy notebook. And he goes into a studio and he reads from this notebook. And one of my favorite tracks is the heckler lines.
Oh, yeah.
This is so funny. You're literally going through your notebook going, what was I thinking?
Yeah, I didn't even know I had them. I moved about a year and a half ago, and I was going through my old stuff, just chucking stuff out, and I found these like 3 notebooks of stuff. I'm like, what is this? And I looked around, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, and I'm reading this stuff. I'm like, this is, who wrote this? I'm like, this couldn't have been me. I'm like, this is terrible.
That's what kids are for. Blame it on the 2-year-old.
Well, it was funny because I was going to chuck them out, and my wife's like, no, save them. I go, for what? I go, no, I don't want anyone reading this. She goes, no, your son might want to read it one day, your early comedy writings.
Right.
And she convinced me because I was going to go burn them. I was throwing them right in the fireplace. I wanted to get that evidence out of the house.
Instead, it's on iTunes.
And then I did a podcast about it.
Is your wife Jewish? Listen, we can sell this shit.
No, she didn't know what was inside. If I would have told her some of the jokes, she would have said, you should have burned them.
Our kid's never hearing this.
Exactly, yeah. So then I eventually, I did a podcast about them, and people that listen to my podcast, like, they're so bad that they're actually funny.
Right.
And then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to put this out. What the hell? And then when I'm doing it and I'm promoting it, and like radio shows are playing clips of it, I'm like, why did I do this to myself? Right. I had to put like awful in front of every title because only because if someone like discovered my comedy like recently, I don't want them to. That's the first track they go to. This guy's terrible. I'm not going to go see him.
That's really what I'd be scared of. Like, no, you don't understand. I know this is terrible. Like, I would say that after everything.
Comedian albums in general are so safe that's what's beautiful about this. I like that you're willing to let people hear this. When we did the Keith and the Girl roast, there's a segment there where, surprise, the mic goes out, right? There's some problems, and, some funny things happens during it, but Tim Diamond says, why'd you keep that in? I'm like, that's the beauty of it. It's so funny because it's so awkward and weird, and you're absolutely right, Jim. I will play some of this. And what I think is funny, too, is that, these comedians have things planned out. The game is acting like you don't have it planned out. But I didn't know they also plan out the heckling line. So he's ready for a heck. What's so great about this is that you're ready for a heckler of any kind.
Of any kind.
This is if there's a one-legged woman with blonde hair. Listen to this.
Please don't quit your day job, sir, because then who will take away my garbage when I put it out to the curb? This is to a drunk guy in the audience.
First of all, I'd like to pause because you can take it in.
Yes.
Make sure you understood it all.
No, when I was in the recording studio, the engineer's like, you take the pause it too long. He'll, no, they're not. I go, someone listening in their car, wherever, on the bus, on the headphones, needs a few seconds to digest that before I hit them with something else. They need to make a face, go, why did I buy this? Right. Something, and then let me move on.
It would have got silence in the club. Let him have silence in the studio.
Exactly.
Here we go.
This is to a drunk guy in the audience. Sir, didn't I see you in a race the other day? The 100-yard stagger? Why would a drunk guy run a race?
He's talking to himself.
He's heckling himself.
I am.
This is for if I'm in the studio and I'm heckling me. Hey, you. Do you get the irony of this?
Now, this is a heckler's a doctor.
I know. This is the heckler's a Fifth Avenue jewelry store worker.
What do you work for, Dr. Pepper?
I did like that one.
Now, this is if a heckler's a bartender. It's the only profession.
He's ready for everyone to hate him. This is if the valet comes in and shits on me.